thanks for choosing to watch the video. If you enjoy it, then please like and subscribe and all that stuff. In this one, we're going tench fishing and we're off to Yateley. So we're going tench fishing, and yes, you did hear right. To do that, we're off to Yateley. I hope you enjoyed the last video. It was a great session, surface fishing for carp. But in this one, we are tench fishing. In early March, I could see the lockdown coming, and I thought it was going to stop us fishing. And I knew it was going to interfere with our tench season. So I tried to get some tench fishing in early, right at the start of March. On reflection, it probably was a little bit too early. The tench hadn't really woken up properly. I was catching carp, but I wasn't getting any tench. So as soon as we were allowed out fishing again, the first thing I wanted to do was carry on where I left off and try and get that tench. So I started float fishing the same lake again with maggots and worms, and I did get a few. It's a beautiful little tench, first one of the year. I've baited up the swim with more maggots. Let's see if we can get another one. Stunning little tench. Taking the worm under a float. But whilst that was a lot of fun and nice to get my first tench of the year, I really wanted to get a better stamp of fish, a slightly larger one. And I got a club ticket that now gives me access to the Yateley complex. Now, of course, Yateley is steeped in carp fishing history, and it really was quite special and nostalgic to walk around the lakes there. I walked around the Match Lake, the Copse, the Nursery Lake, South Lake, and I've got access to all of those on this ticket. And maybe at some point I will wet a line in one of those. But one of the things about being allowed to go out fishing again is that everyone has gone out fishing. The banks are very, very busy. When I walked around those lakes, that is compounded by the fact that everyone wants to catch a carp from Yateley. Way too busy for me. That's not my scene at all, really. However, there is another lake on the complex that doesn't get quite as much attention, and that is called Summer Pit. Now, Summer Pit has got its own little slice of history. In the early 2000s, the cruising carp record was broken here a couple of times. I think it's fair to say that those cruising carp are long gone now, but what it has developed into is quite a nice little tench water. It's got some really nice fish in it. I was only fishing short sessions, but my first couple of trips, I came away fruitless, didn't catch anything, and I'd been approaching it wrong. On my third trip, I'd started to put the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together, and you join me for an early start, 3 AM, to make the 1 hour drive across to Yateley Summer Pit. Yes. That's exactly what I'm after. Oh, yeah. Oh. Yes. So there we go. First one from a new venue. Really lovely dark tench. Really pleased with that. Up really early to get this one. So pleased with that. First one, first blood. I want to talk a little bit about how I'm fishing. So it is a flatbed feeder with pellets, short hook length, and then like a drilled pellet on the hair, 1 or 2 of those. And that's how I'm fishing. What I'm doing, casting the rods out, and then I'm moving them every 45 minutes. If I don't get a take, I'm moving them around. So I'm sort of like a bit like how I solid bag fish for carp actually, where I'm almost trying to locate the fish. Every now and then the fish are giving away their location, and they're doing that through bubblers, big patches of fizzes coming up. Now if I see that, a rod's coming in and it's going on it, and a number of times that's the rod that's gone off. So you kind of have to keep watching the water. But yeah, that's kind of the approach that I'm taking, and it's the approach that seems to be working all right at the moment. Another nice early morning tench. Just coming into the bank here, look. Trying to get in those reeds. Shaking its head. Oh, smashing. Look at that. Oh, that's a gorgeous one. Lovely. Having struggled at first, we've definitely found a method that works.
Don't boy come down.
Really shaking his head. Not happy at all. And here he comes. No, he doesn't. There he is on the top, look. Lovely, early. No, one last lunge maybe. Scrap. That was cast at some bubblers that I saw. There we go. In the net. So we've got another one. This time casting my pellets at fizzing fish. I could see where they were. These fish are gorgeous. There we go. How's that? For a stunning early morning tench. You can see the sun's got up now. I'm out here catching these and having a fantastic time. Let's get him back, see if we can get another. Got here really early this morning, on the bank fishing at first light. It hasn't been plain sailing. It's the third time that I've been here. Twice I've gone home with my tail between my legs and not caught anything. And I think it's because I'd approached it wrong. I started off on my first session using the heli kits, which are really, an excellent bit of tackle. I was putting out ground bait in the feeder with maggots, red maggots on the hook. Absolutely mullered by small fish, and I realised that fairly quick. Obviously I was also fishing worm on the hook again. I think it's a method that probably would work in March or early April, but we're well into May now, and the silverfish, they've all woken up, and that clearly wasn't going to work. I carried on using a helicopter setup, but with ground bait in, and I was putting larger bits in now, like pellets into the ground bait. And I was using trimmed down boilies or fake corn and corn on the hair, and still I wasn't getting fish for whatever reason. And what I've ended up on, and what's worked on this session, is going in purely with pellets. I spoke to the other anglers around the lake, and it does seem to be that pellets was the way to go. So I started using the Sonobait's pellet O's on the hair, which are pre-drilled pellets. Started using them on the hair, and I switched from a helicopter rig to a flatbed feeder, like an inline flatbed feeder. I'm going to take you through that rig that's started to work now. So I go for an 8 to 10 pound mainline. That comes down, I've got an inline method feeder by Preston Innovations. Then I've got a quick change swivel. I've just got an anti-tangle sleeve over the swivel and a short hook length. It's an 8 pound hook length that's coming down to a size 10 core and power hook, and then just a short hair. I've got a single pellet or a double pellet on the other rod, and those are just the pellet O's by Sonobaits. So something that I do, the pellet that's going onto the hair, I almost countersink that by using the scissors, because there's a certain type of stop that I want to use to stop that pellet coming off the hair. You know, one of those stops that actually go inside the pellet slightly to stop the hair stop sort of sliding out, which it can do with pellets. Now, a lot of people would use fake corn or fake maggots or things like that. I've seen a lot of people using that, and that, yeah, that would probably work as well. I've decided to go in with an all pellet approach. So on the feeder, I'm just using scalded pellets. So the night before, I'd have poured boiling hot water onto the pellets, drained that off after a few minutes, and then just left them in the car. And then by the time I want to use them this morning, they're just the right sort of softness to actually hold onto the method feeder really nicely. I'm not actually putting hook bait amongst that in the feeder. Some people do. I've just left it trailing because it's such a short hook length, and that seems to be doing all right. So I was pleased with what I got on that session. I got a couple of tench. This is now a separate session. It's only about 4 days later. I got up really early again, made the journey around the M25 again. Got here for about half four, and yeah, maybe hoping for a couple more today. Something bigger would be great. Always would be, wouldn't it? Oh, they really do go well. I think I like this bush down there on my right. Go for it every time. Yeah, nice one. Let's grab the net. We're having to really work for these now. I suspect they might be thinking about spawning, because I think the lake can be a bit more prolific than this. But then I don't know, you know, I'm new to the lake, I don't really know. What I would like to do is come back in about a month, and once they've got spawning out the way, and see how my catches compare then. But yeah, really happy with that. I'm going to slip him back. Bomb round to the left there. That's been in the water 5 minutes, that one. Very quiet early on. A couple of quick bites. There we go. Oh, another. Happy days. There we go, that's another one. So nice to be out catching these. That's 2 fish in fairly quick succession. Stunning. Not going to hold him up for the camera because we've had a couple now this size, around about 5 pound. Put him back and see if we can get that larger fish. We've got a massive sheet of bubblers come out there. That's come just short. That's fine. Could have done with being another rod length back. Move quick. Don't get the other line. This bush here. Oh, he's got that. I know he's come through. Come on, bring him through. Bring him through. Oh no, he's done me. Let's get running. Oh, we've got him out. God, he nearly done me there. Really did nearly do me. Looks like a good fish. Oh, it really did nearly do me there. Drama. So I can just get this. Oh, blimey. Oh, it looks like good in this one. Oh, yes. He's in. Oh, I was lucky to get him. Whew. So we got a nicer one. It's just over £7 this one. Look at that. Cracking fish. Caught on the pellets again. We're getting back. We get that rod back out. An awesome fish. So those were my Tench sessions on Summer Pit. They were only short sessions, so I was quite pleased to get amongst a few fish. I'm now actually at another lake that's just down the road from Summer Pit. It's a little bit trickier, but it does offer the chance of a double-figured fish. Did the night last night, didn't get anything. Wanted to end the video on as a hero, didn't happen. And it's a bit of a shame. Would be great if I could get amongst those, but to be honest, I don't know when I'll be back again, because of course the river opens next week. I'm not sure what I'll be fishing for next. I probably will be on the river fishing for carp, barbel, chub, that sort of thing. I'm looking forward to sharing all that with you. But until then, look after yourselves, stay safe and be lucky.